to pick. The Cupid and the Vulcan were most notably mentioned here. So with the Papis banning out Fafnir, Elevate will choose to ban out the ever-popular Robin. So we'll see where everybody winds up after the second bans. Osiris, pretty standard, just meta ban. And the final first round ban will be a Serket.
A lot of aggressive early gods immediately off the table. Robin's one of these flex options that you don't necessarily want to deal with, whether it's the soul lane or the jungle role. Osiris has been just so dominant ever since Maniac kind of brought it back to the table at the beginning of Season 4.
Well, Terra will be selected here first for the Papis, and Elevate will go Bellona and Carninos, two very strong characters currently in the meta. We'll see how that one works out. You heard Agra really singing the praises of Jermaine. So giving a very good hunter is a very good look for the hunters. And there's that Vulcan. Oh, Boom will be the one playing it this time around. And Arlong Shen will likely be in the solo lane.
Pretty good long-range poke and setup thus far out of the Papis composition. You're having the meatballs, the javelin toss, the walls collapsing on you from Papis so far, whereas Elevate's more about in-your-face action thus far between this Bellona and Cabrakan. And surprisingly enough, Cabrakan, we haven't seen him being played in the jungle role recently, at least.
Sure, but Cabrakan does a really good job against Vulcan specifically, locking him down with the walls, really strong stuff against a character like Vulcan. The Cupid banned out by Elevate. Love that they're going for the personal play on the side of the Papis. They know that Warchi wants to bring out the little guy, so they ban him out. The Nemesis are just kind of standard. And the Sun Wukong ban next to the Ares ban for the Papis. Interesting. What do you think the thought process is there?
Maybe they've done their homework and they are expecting Bellona, Cabrakan, and Sun Wukong here. They probably thought maybe it would have been Bellona jungle, Cabrakan support, so therefore they're banning away Sun Wukong to get away more of these backline penetrators. But Thor is one of these gods that can easily dive the backline with his global and then hammer.
And that's likely to be the jungle. Although we have seen Thor solo once upon a time, I think it's going to be the jungle here. And Susano, a character who I still think is very, very powerful. Ton of control here on this jungler. Going to be selected for the Papis in the last moment possible. Ram, the hunter of choice for the Papis as well. Elevate, however, they have one more selection. Their hunter's already chosen. It will be a mid lane, and it's going to be Isis. So we'll see Nulissa play the control mage this time around. Nulissa's kind of known for her Giannis and her Vulcan, and the Isis is sort of her third tier character.
It's something that synergizes very well with Nika here in this role because of how aggressive he probably wants to be in the early game with this Thor. Isis is probably one of the best early game gods that you can want out of your mid lane, especially once Purple Pot was a thing back in level 1, purchasable consumable slot, but now without it, it's still a good idea to do this option. Control the mid lane, look for a potential invade, and then shut down Dalo any opportunity you can get.
Shutting down Dalo, easier said than done. This guy has done relatively well. Honestly, I think Dalo has been my one of the players that I've enjoyed watching the most on this team, even going back historically. I just really like Dalo on this team.
Absolutely. This jungler has made a pretty big impact in his short amount of time in the Papis. He's always been looking for these kind of plays, and what other god would you want besides Susanoo making the plays despite the slight nerf being dealt to him over the past couple of patches? He still provides you this high mobility in the jungle, being able to initiate at the drop of a dime and do a lot of burst damage getting out.
Keep an eye on Arlong Shen. Not just because I like his dog, but because he's looking for the flank here. And actually just going to not really go for the kills or the aggressive play. As he walks over the ward from Elevate, he gets spotted out, so just goes for the vision, or just goes for the experience, excuse me, and then TP's over to a short lane.
Gonna miss out on some gold though, because No Numbers is able to clear the way first, so that way will enter the tower. But this time around, Papis, they attempted to go for that speed buff invade, not gonna find it because of how powerful the clear is between this Isis Thor.
Yeah, I mean, Isis is one of the strongest clears in the game, and big damage on Dalo already. Had to use the beads. If Dalo doesn't pop beads, that's a first blood.
Absolutely. Level 2 Thor Isis is probably the scariest 2v2s in mid jungle that you want to be dealing with between the stun of the Isis, the wing gust, and then you got that hammer followed up by the Berserker Barrage at level 2, especially with a passive of Thor giving you amplified physical power. That could have spelled first blood very easily. Yeah,
and Nulissa on this Isis, though, so much pressure. Isis, she might have the best clear in the game. I think she does. Obviously competing there is to be Poseidon, Anubis, Ra. I think Isis is probably a little bit safer to play than Anubis in the pro league.
Just a little bit.
Damage on the left side, however, as Dardes finds control over Draco Marino. Not enough to kill, but enough to scare. Half HP on the support player, and he only has 1 and 2 of the multi-pots and the health pots, respectively. Why do we see so many multi-pots on the side of, well, everyone these days? Less mana, more multi.
They're expecting aggression. Whenever you're dealing against a Thor Isis, Dalo's going to be relying on the mana from Ojo Boom to clear the wave anyway, so as long as he has that multi-pot, he could still take a little bit of extra damage from the wave or Nika and still stay relevant and not have to back at a timing that he's not familiar with, so that way, for example, trying to back at the difference between the 2-minute mark versus the 2.5 or maybe 3-minute mark, that's when you're only going to have boots 2 versus boots 3 out of Nika.
And one of the aspects I like about those two options is Nulissa and Thor clear the wave nice and easy, is the fact that you can double up on it. And so that it allows you to fight while your health bar ticks up, theoretically. You've got your multi-pot and your health pot both contributing to HP 5, so to speak, right? And you can sort of fight knowing that you're going to be building that HP up, as Creed does right there. Popping the health pot while he stays aggressive versus no numbers.
Absolutely. You're getting 10 health per second out of the health pot, 5 health out of the multi-pot. So essentially a total of 15 health per second, able to start boxing against the opposition, but no numbers has the same mindset going for a multi-pot. And with a Death's Toll and Scourge, this Bologna will easily out-sustain Creed every single opportunity, making this matchup slightly more difficult than it needs to be for the Erlang Shen.
Oh, Boom hits level 5 and then thinks about going back, but as he sees the wave is here already, he realizes that he has to go ahead and actually help out and clear a little bit. Different starts for our mages here today, or not necessarily starts, but positions. Already boots 2 on the Isis, and she's going to be building into that in a little bit, and you can see she is way up above the opposition. About 100 gold above the Vulcan here, who has backed and bought those boots too. So now about even, but Nulissa will be able to buy the boots 3, the full boots, a little bit earlier, and that penetration is really important.
But Ojo Boom, upon returning to the mid lane, he has a Sentry Ward available, so he'll be looking to play very defensively, trying to protect his own buffs, because the difference of the speed buffs, Papis, they tried to invade the speed buff, were unsuccessful in doing so, so they create this about 1 minute difference in speeds.
And here's going to come Nika with the first gank of the game. Creed's in trouble. Taunt is not good. The heal coming out in just a moment. And there it is. Big money, but Nulissa shows up as well. Wingust is strong. Draco Marino controls 3, but Nulissa through the wall gets the first blood for Elevate.
A nice rotation from the Cabrakan.
Nice.
The Sunder making work out of that second kill as well. And I like the control there between Elevate getting those 2 kills, really trying to lock down Creed there. Now, had Terra's Blessing not procced the heal on Creed, he wouldn't have even gotten off the heal of his own ultimate. It would have been a much cleaner gank, but the global presence out of the Terra's Blessing is going to be slightly more difficult to find kills onto Creed, especially once he gets a little bit more resilient with Mark of the Vanguard or Mystical Mail.
But for now, it was a perfect gank out of Nika and team. The nice rotation coming out of the mid lane really secured things. It was really well executed by Elevate, and they even find the follow-up kill as well onto the support player. So all things considered, looking kind of nice for Elevate. Starting off and going for the Oracle, so they'll have some additional vision on the left side of the map.
Dardes' rotation was what contributed to that second important kill. Not normally known for sort of solo lane rotations. The more North American supports will go for these kinds of styles and rotations, but aggressive is in the nature out of Dardes, which is why he's playing the Cabrakan, which is why he picked up the Sunder, which is why he rotated in the solo lane looking for these plays.
Exactly. I mean, when you're looking at Dardes and Jermaine, I mean, these guys are affectionately called the Bruise Brothers, right? And they don't have to be together in lane to just bring the pain, and that's exactly what they're able to do. Dardes is able to just rotate. He's got the 2 assists so far, tank boots, and he's just trapping Warchi. Look, he's got nowhere to go but up. The Rom goes to the sky. Draco Marino taking damage as well. Warchi's going to come down, and the Terra is enough to send Elevate back to the lane. But that was a perfect ultimate by Dardes.
But another perfect ultimate from Warchi. He prevents himself from getting into the boar form against Jermaine, and he holds on to his Purification Beast. But with Nalissa having Circle of Protection, this Gold Fury attempt by Elevate.
Nika's gonna go to the sky to protect everybody. Gets the kill accidentally, and the Gold Fury goes to the Papis. They're able to steal it. Dalo sends a tsunami and takes it away from Elevate.
What a beautiful play out of the Papis jungler. Dalo making a huge play very early in the game, and if that Gold Fury goes in the way of Elevate, they can easily start controlling the pace of the game.
I mean, listen, I will tip my hat to Dalo. Good for you, bud. But that's just a drop by Elevate. You have the Isis.
I would agree. So,
you have the Isis.
But it's only a level 1 Circle of Protection. As much damage as Isis ultimate does, that level 1 ultimate, before you get real magical power on, real penetration,
even still,
it's an easy opportunity for Papis to steal it. Compared to once Isis gets 3 points into the ultimate, once that Dynasty Plate helmet gets complete, especially if Nalissa gets that Spear of Desolation, just absolutely melting any sort of objective.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It is relatively early, but that's kind of where Isis flexes the most. She's an early game god, and you know, I just at the end of the day, yeah, it unfortunately was the mid lane dropping it, but either way, the Gold Fury down means that it's in direction of the Papis, and that will keep us tied for now instead of Elevate catapulting to the lead that they thought they were going to be able to grab.
But slight experience lead in their department, mostly on the form of the support. Darda's 1 level ahead of Draco Marino, which is not too shabby for Papis considering it is a Terra. Terra doesn't necessarily need that many levels to stay relevant in the game. She's all about bringing the control behind her kit, finding the roots or the stuns.
And she's been able to find those. The roots have been really strong. The stuns, we just haven't seen them because they haven't really mattered. We've seen 1 or 2 to really isolate players, but the roots have been strong. Now, the Papis haven't been able to get kills, but the 3 that Elevate have are not. Elevate has tried more than 3 times to find these kills, and Draco Marino has done a really good job of peeling for himself and his team.
And everything had to go in like the perfect fashion for Elevate to find these kills, because Papis, they were always grouped up and they had the Terrace Blessing available to make those kills even more difficult. Kree surviving for quite a long time. If it wasn't for that rotation from Dardas earlier on, they would probably only have that 1 kill.
No numbers down, trying to take the fight. And Creed's gonna wind up on the good side of it. So we'll see the little back off from the Elevate Solo Lunar, who's actually gonna back all the way to base and likely teleport back.
Still looking for a lot of these options between these junglers of what they really want to build into. More than likely will be the Jotun's Wrath for both. Nice little steroid pop by Dardas. He is immune to slows and roots whenever he uses that ability. Not only does he run really quickly at you with his walrus hands trying to stun you, but try to root that guy. Not gonna happen.
Walrus hands?
Yeah, his walrus hands. He's like a walrus whenever he's like, so whenever you pop the 1 as Cabrakan, think about this. You pop the 1 as Cabrakan, you run forward, and you hold left click.
Yeah, and you
don't stop moving fast anyway, and it just looks like you're a walrus, man.
Have you ever seen a walrus, Anatoly?
Okay, I just pretend I'm making walruses noises.
I think you
as
mean
I'm charging.
seal.
Same thing.
It's
close
not the
enough.
same thing at all, but I'll give it to you. 10 minutes in, and Elevate are tied up with the Papis. Unfortunately for Elevate and their support Walrus, they did give up their Gold Fury to a Poppy steal. It looks nothing like a Walrus. I'm not giving that one
I'm
to
gonna
you.
Google this after the match.
I know you will. Nika's gonna go to the sky as everybody gets aggressive and winds up in Elevate's jungle, or excuse me, the Poppy's jungle, but big damage, spin to win, Nulissa and the solo lane. 2 players dead already. Draco Marino's next, no numbers, he's the opposite. He's got a 2 and he's got a 3 in his kill column and assist respectively, and a big old goose egg where the enemy wants the numbers to be. He hasn't died yet. In fact, nobody on his squad has died yet. The team fight, the jungle, and the portal demon all go to the red team.
Wrong place at the wrong time. Warshi baiting out the ultimate out of Germain, though. Red buff going in the favor of Elevate's Hunter, but going back into that team fight, that was just great presence of mind from everybody out of Elevate. They utilized their global presence out of Thor so beautifully, and the control that they have between the Tectonic Rift, Anvil of Dawn, the stun silence out of Nalissa, the control that Dardas brings, whether or not he's stunning you or he's just making you move in a way you don't want to with his tremors, players. Elevate just lock Papis in wherever they want.
Yeah, it's really tough for the Papis to deal with it. Warchi, look how careful he is against Jermaine here. He doesn't want to walk too far up, doesn't want to get caught out of position, because he knows, look at this gang squad. Elevator just grouped up in 11 minutes, ready to fight anyone that shows up, and they're just gonna hard body the Gold Fury. If Papis really want to do this, they're gonna have to full commit, and they just, whether or not they know, they just can't do it.
Remember, long range poke versus short range. This Thor is going to be the key factor.
Trouble for Creed. He's gone. Jermaine puts lucky number 7 on the board here. There's the combo onto Dalo. Nika's looking a lot better in this game than he did earlier.
Absolutely. Taking advantage of all the relics being down from Papis without the purification beads for Dalo. Once he gets stunned once, all that burst damage from Nika is going to be truly in effect. Trying to buy a little bit of time is Warchi. He misses the second and the third one. Going to avoid out that stun, but the Berserker... Ooh, I thought he was going to commit with that Berserker Barrage.
If the double tap finds it, then one more basic gets the kill, but unfortunately for Nika, unable to really get that one. 8-0. The Papis got lucky and took the first Gold Fury, but the second one goes to Elevate as they planned, and they'll be up about 3,500 because of that great play. No numbers here in the solo lane on the Bologna. Has been looking very strong. Top of the player damage, but he's a solo laner, so he gets some fake damage as well. But when it comes, oh, there's the player damage. I was reading the wrong thing. And it's no surprise to me that Nika's top of the player damage. So I was actually looking at it going, why is it Nika top player damage? It's because I can't read. He is top player damage, and that makes sense. He's been able to really control these team fights. Now, I like when he went up for Gold Fury number 1. Unfortunately, we saw Dalo actually steal it away, but he goes up in the ultimate to play sort of satellite and see who's around, what's happening. By the time he communicates that everybody's here, unfortunately, Gold Fury goes south for him and his team. But he's been able to land these combos very, very strongly. At first, when we saw him, I was questioning the move to jungle, and here on Elevate, I like it. He's doing very well today.
Very nice transition thus far out of the multi-role player out of Nika. Beats whether or not he's Hunter, solo, jungle. He's always very confident in his own abilities, along with his team to be able to follow up. And Elevate is just a team that has very high highs, but then sometimes they've been known to have very low lows.
Right, and that's, you know, Elevate has to find a new identity. Fails was a very big part of this team for them, and he's moved on to arguably bigger and better things. And it's up to Elevate to make that argument that he has not moved on to bigger and better things, but simply different things. And if Nika keeps playing like he does, like he has been today, I think they can make that argument. Nika is a large question mark to a lot of players or a lot of people. He sort of proved himself a little bit in the solo lane, but not all the way. He didn't really do much in the Hunter role. Now here he is in the jungle, which is his preferred role. Will it work out is a different question. Right now, the answer is yes.
He's been involved in 7 out of the 8 kills out of Elevate. He's been making his impact surely felt by the Papis. Yep. With this Jotun's Wrath finished, now working on what looks to be a shifter shield, he's going to have a little bit even more physical power to really burst out the opposition, whether it's the double tap or that Berserker Barrage.
Interesting to not see him go the Hydras. I know the Jotuns has really come back into prominence. Hydras, why is it gone?
So there's a, if you don't want to commit to the in-hand, let's say you just want to poke from a distance, you're going to stun, hammer away, or hammer, but you're not going to teleport to it. So are you really getting the benefit of Hydras if you're not committing to an in-hand in between every ability?
That's the truth. But right now he's going to commit to the team fight on the left-hand side. Warchi trapped, and there's the kill, the hit onto Draco Marino. The trouble for Dalo as he shows up. Jermaine, half HP, has to Aegis. There's the shot from Oho Boom over the wall. Not going to find a target, but Oho Boom gets boomed himself. Dardes on the good side. 1 kill for the support, and now everybody on Elevate has at least 1 kill, and nobody on Elevate has at least 1 death.
Warchi needs to be very careful, but Dalo's trying to find the pull here, but he's going to be the one pulled back into the grave. Dardes controls him completely from behind. Alyssa making the stun happen.
Nice play, nice play. There's something about good Isis play that just, I love watching a strong Isis player. Spirit balls and silences are just, That's what I want to watch.
So cheeky, Nalissa wrapping around behind the purple buff, recognizing that the rest of our team was in a good spot anyway. They have a one-player advantage with the Vulcan player being dead. Why not take this opportunity to wrap around the flank side? And whether or not they find a kill there, they would have at least forced Papis to retreat from that tier 1 tower.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely need to make them retreat just a little bit. Almost 17 minutes in here, folks, and a really strong lead for Elevate. They're up about, what is that, 7,000 gold? Eesh. At 16 and a half. Shutting out the Papis currently. Draco Marino in some trouble. Rally over here says no numbers, and the support gonna try and find safety in the solo lane. Nika misses the ultimate completely, but Nulissa doesn't miss hers. The ultimate's down to the ground. Nulissa gets the kill off of a different ability, and the ultimate will pop and heal everybody up on Team Elevate. Delos the target now, totally. No numbers looking for the chase. Won't continue. But Elevate get number 12.
Ochaboom needs to be very careful with Dardus right around the corner. The ultimate is available for this Cabrakan, locking him into place. And thus far, out of Papis, there's no Phantom being committed quite yet. Maybe level 12 once Draco Marino hits that power spike. That could be an option.
Is that important?
I guess whenever you are a Vulcan player and a Zeus, like a lot of these gods can't, none of these gods can get out of the ultimate at all.
Yeah, I at the end of the day, I mean, you're able to like fight through Dardus' ultimate.
You could basically take out some of the stones.
Right.
Granted, you have to communicate that very quickly as well because there are 5 of them, so you have to be hitting the same exact stone that you want the players to get out of.
Oh, communication on the Papis. Nobody knew where anybody was. They assumed they were going for the Gold Fury. They went for the Gold Fury a little bit late, or the Papis went and showed up a little bit just wrong time, man. Elevate snatched the Gold Fury right under the nose of the Papis and just they extend their lead to 9,000.
They have a decent amount of vision as well, surprisingly enough, to be able to not spot that out correctly. But either way, Elevate still extending their lead quite heavily here, heading into the almost 19-minute mark. Over 13,000 experience.
Portal Demon. The Papis, this one's just getting out of control, man. At some points, you know, you can say, all right, we got this late game team in the Vulcan and the Rom, but at some point, too much is too much. This is quickly turning into a downward spiral.
Absolutely. Everybody on Papis is either 2 or 3 levels behind their counterpart out of Elevate, and Elevate are just unrelenting.
Nice pull
They're
by
all
Dalo,
grouped.
but he's too far behind. Jermaine just smacks him in the mouth for coming up front. Here's going to be trouble for the support as well. Meanwhile, Jermaine takes care of Warchi on the left-hand side. Draco Marino about 20%. Make that 10. Make that 0. 5-0 and 7 for Nulissa, and that's a 19-minute surrender. I got to agree.